All right, and we are back for video number 7. This one's a pretty exciting one. So what I'll be doing is taking you through my first solo away trip to a game, which also included my first visits beforehand. And then I will wrap up the video with just kind of some of the reconciliation and follow-up stuff that we have to do after returning or finishing up a visit trip. So excited to take you along. I've got lots of clips from during that week and kind of following there. So we'll start out with that and get going. It is the morning of my first away solo trip. I'm heading to Boston for visits. I'll fly up tonight after I get out of the office and be there through Saturday. So I've got 3 visits scheduled for tomorrow, which is Friday, and then Saturday I will be driving to Brown University down in Providence, Rhode Island to entertain a few donors down at that game. And then I'll fly back from Boston that night. So I'm about to head into the office. Obviously can't take y'all with me there, as you know by now, but we'll look to jump back in as soon as I leave and try to take you all along the rest of the process. So to help illustrate a little bit better what the trip looked like, I've created a graphic here just to kind of outline the schedule and keep things a little bit more straightforward. So Thursday, which also happened to be Halloween, was the day that I ended up leaving for the trip on the day of the video that I just showed you. So from 9 a.m. to 4:30 was pretty much a normal work day. I worked in the office until about noon and then came home at lunchtime to finish out the day home so I could A, finish packing, and B, leave for the airport a little bit before 5 o'clock. So my flight left Philadelphia for Boston at 7:50 and then landed around 9 p.m. From there, I did have to go pick up the rental car, which was close to the airport. A little bit of a hiccup there. I believe their systems were down or their printer wasn't working or something like that, but was able to make it over to my hotel by about 10:30 p.m. So with the early morning coming up on Friday, wasn't the most ideal situation, but all worked out in the end. Then Friday, it was, again, an early morning with the first meeting starting at 8:30. So that was a little bit of a reschedule. Initially, we were going to grab coffee at 9 a.m., but he was supposed to have a round of golf going at 9 a.m. So we ended up meeting at the golf club that he was playing at 8:30, which, pretty cool experience and obviously beautiful views, not too bad to get out there that early in the morning. Weather was still warm enough that it was a comfortable meeting and a great way to start my first in-person visit. Between that meeting and my next one, really just kind of killed some time, went ahead and filled out some information from that meeting just for our records. And then at 12 o'clock, I had a lunch meeting with another donor. Both of these guys were from the football alumni kind of group there. Lunch meeting lasted a little bit longer. It was from about noon to 1:30 p.m. there. Pretty good wing place, and I guess a place that this guy, shortly after he graduated college and was living in Boston, used to frequent. So that was an interesting meeting, not as light of a mood as the first meeting. Just a different experience in this guy's time at Penn, but still, connected very well with him and ultimately had a great time. So closed out the day with a 2 to 2:45 coffee meeting. This gentleman was an older alumni, significantly older than the other 2 guys that I met with. And this last gentleman was a tennis and squash alumni. So obviously a very different alumni base than you'll have with football. Very interesting meeting. He was a class of 73 alum, so the conversation was just very different. He's a guy that had a good experience at Penn and at one point had pretty good capacity to give, but given some life circumstances and things that have happened over the past few years, he has lost some of that capacity and then hasn't been super interested in giving to the tennis and squash programs for varying reasons and some things that he doesn't see eye to eye with the program on. So obviously those are meetings you're going to run into. The way that I confronted it was just, hey, totally appreciate you sharing this stuff with me. I'm just still looking to learn. So again, all of them went well, including this meeting. But just interesting to get those different perspectives for sure. So after that meeting wrapped up, I did make the about hour-and-a-half drive with traffic down to Providence, Rhode Island to go ahead and get checked into my hotel down there and kind of get settled in. So Then Saturday morning, another early one. We had to be at Browns football stadium at 9 a.m. Like to arrive 3 hours before kickoff, as I mentioned in a previous video, but immediately went to go pick up our credentials from their operations staff. And then kind of made my way around the stadium, got familiar with the area, and about 10 a.m., some of our donors and alumni that were attending started to roll in. So met them at the entrance to the parking lot with their parking passes, tickets, and sideline credentials. That lasted probably from about 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I bounced around to a couple of our Penn tailgates and chatted with people there as well. Then 12 to 12 to 2:30, I entertained some of our donors on the sideline. Had one of the guys that I had met with on Friday come by, which was great to see him again. But really, everybody was happy. The team was winning the first game in a while, which was awesome to be there for that. Did have to duck out a little bit early there at 2:30 just so I could get back to Boston, turn in the rental car, and then make sure I caught my flight at 5:50, and ultimately got back to Philly around 9 p.m. So long weekend. Very fun, very cool to have that experience, under my belt. Now what we're going to do is put in all of our contact reports. So after you go on visits, you then log your visits in the CRM system, and you do a quick summary recap of everything you guys talked about, how you think it went. Are they likely to give? Are they, potentially a prospect for a major gift in the future, so on and so forth. So that's what I'm doing today. It's Sunday, nothing else really to do, so just gonna try to knock this stuff out. And then tomorrow I will be sending a Word document with all my contract reports to our team. It's just something that we do to keep everybody in the loop and kind of on top of things as far as it's concerned to sports you aren't assigned to, or if there are some overlapping donors or alumni from sport to sport. So gonna get working on that. All right, so after about 30 minutes, we were all wrapped up. I had to write 2 full contact reports and then update the one that I had already completed. So now from there, still will have to put that all into a Word document, like I mentioned, to get sent out to the rest of the staff tomorrow. Something else I'll need to make sure I do tomorrow is follow up with those people that I chatted with. In that email, I'll just say, hey, thanks for meeting with me. I appreciate the time. It was great to meet you. Maybe a few details here and there from our conversations, and then what they recommend is that we always include the online giving link kind of towards the bottom of that email. So I'll be sure to do that. So yeah, again, super excited to have the first visits kind of out of the way and under the wing. Something that I do want to mention, didn't mention before, was that when we go on these visits, whether it's to Boston or Los Angeles, to Texas, wherever it may be, everything is covered by the University of Pennsylvania. So that includes our plane tickets, train tickets, whatever you end up doing, any rental cars that you need to use, your hotels, 3 meals a day. So they do a great job of making sure that, we put ourselves in the best position to have success. And then obviously if you meet with a donor for a meal, you can offer to pay for that as well. I think that pretty much wraps up everything from this first visit trip up to Boston. Again, everything went as well as I could have expected. And now it is a quick turnaround to my next visit trip to Missouri this week. So that will be me flying out Tuesday night, and then I'll have meetings on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So a full busy schedule, some exciting meetings there, some potential major gift opportunities. So excited to kind of take the next step up and have a bit more of a busy schedule. So excited to take you guys along there. See you next time.